Hello and welcome to Texas Truck Channel. My name is Brian and we've got something really special for today. But a quick reminder before we get to that, this month we are giving away our Scotty Grill. All you have to do to enter to win is make sure you subscribe to Texas Truck Channel and make a comment on any of our videos released in the month of June. And you can comment as many times as you want. We're going to randomly pick one out of the June videos, and that'll be the winner of this giveaway. The Scotty Grill is really cool. You can put it together in 2 minutes flat. You can cook with wood, charcoal, or gas. It has an actual gas line to it, system set up, and then it'll cool off within 15 minutes and can be taken apart and packaged into its heat-resistant package, and you're on your way. It's perfect for backpacking, for overlanding, which is why we like it, camping, whatever. Super cool. So remember, comment below, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to verify you're subscribed, and you can comment as many times as you want on any video in June, and that's going to be your entry. So before we get any more things bogging us down, let's get to it. This is the 2023 Polaris Sportsman 850, and as you can tell, it's got some special stuff going on. Look at these tires. They look like tractor tires. This is the High Lifter Edition, the HL. It has returned. This has been a fan favorite to Polaris fanboys for a real long time, and it's back for 2023. Now, Polaris is nice enough to send this to us for a long-term loan so we can really get some time with it and get to know it, and we've been riding it for over a month now, and man, has this thing grown on us. It's great. It's funny because we requested something that was good for mud, and did they deliver? Holy cow. So the most bespoke thing I want to start with is the wheels and tires. That's really the main thing that's going to save you in mud, but there's more than that. We'll talk about that in a minute. These tires are 30 inches tall. It's funny, some big trucks and SUVs will brag about having like a 33 or a 31 inch tire off-road. This thing is a 30 on an ATV, and they are paddles. Look how deep these things are, just for reference. I mean, that's how deep these channels are. It's about half an iPhone deep in paddle. It does have some siping in it as well for other things. They are 9.5 inches wide, and the wheels are Steelies. They're powder coated black, and they are 14 inches, which look really cool. It really adds to the look. I like it a lot. No complaints. You can also see deep in here the blue coilover shock. That is to match the blue on the other trim. But you'll notice this is a fully independent suspension, front and rear. Check it out back here. Not a live axle. So that independent suspension really helps with ride quality when you're going over bumps at speed. And I want to point something else out. Look at how this A-arm arcs up right here. Instead of dipping down like some do, it arcs up. These are high clearance A-arms, front and rear. And that combined all that stuff together gives you 13.5 inches ground clearance. So if you're going through mud and there's a boulder hiding in there or a log or something like that, you're just going to go right over it. That's the good news. So up front, what do we get? Well, like I said, those A-arms are really cool. And this front diff is open, by the way. It's not locked. And forget this grass right here. That is a recovery point on the front. Not that you're going to need it, but you could sink it enough that might come in handy. But there's something else up here that you may not be seeing, and that is a radiator. There's no radiator mounted down here like the other Sportsman models. That's because it's horizontally mounted right here. I'm going to pull the shroud off. It's got 1, 2. We can pop this cover off, and look at that. The radiator is actually mounted right here, and it has twin fans. And with that shroud, actually will duct the air and push it out to the side, which is interesting because you can feel the air when you're going fast enough. It will come out, and then you can feel it on your hands a little bit, but it doesn't get you warm. You just notice it when these are on and flowing. The whole point of that is that if this thing was mounted vertically and down low and you go through a bunch of mud, it's going to cake up and then it's going to overheat. This thing is independent. It's got you covered. Really cool. It's hard to do this on the aftermarket. Adding snorkels is pretty easy, but this kind of stuff takes a whole redesign. I like that. Up front, you also have your power distribution block. Relays and fuses are here, and they are sealed. That blue strip, that's a weather-tight seal. So when you get this thing deep, it's not going to matter. See these intakes? This is not only for your engine, so when you get, this is a snorkel system, it's also for your clutch system. The clutch is sealed, so you can get this thing bogged deep, and that's where your air comes in, and that's where it ventilates as well. So keep in mind, that's this high. That's really deep. Now, the marketed fording depth is about here somewhere, give or take. They don't want you going that deep because if you're in an emergency, you can, but by and large, you don't want to all the time. But the whole point of this is a purpose-built mud machine. It's gonna go through stuff like that. They know that. So that's why those things are so high up here. Here's your radiator cap right there. Now up front, you have 50-watt halogen headlights. Let's turn those on real quick. There you go. They are seal beam, single beam. They are not high beam like you get on the Rangers and that kind of stuff. And they're not LED. I kind of wish they were, if I'm being picky. They know those things for mud. You don't go mud riding at night very often, so they didn't prioritize that like you do for some of the trail rigs. So just keep that in mind. Now the trade-off is, this is not the best deer hunting rig. You don't have a front rack right here for like extra equipment because you have this cooling system up front. So keep that in mind. Out back, we have some features back here. This is a bit of a tow bar. It's really a bumper. You can recover a little bit, but they would rather you recover from down here on the hitch. The hitch is rated for 150 pounds of tongue weight, and then you've got 1,500 pounds of max tow weight. It's a 1-inch receiver down here. So they prefer you recover right here. It's actually on the chassis mount right there. It's really good. Now the rear coilovers, see that collar right there? See the notches in the side? This thing comes with a spanner wrench, and you can preload the springs for more weight or more payload, or a just to reduce the slop in the coilover itself, which I like. I'm a heavier rider, so I actually notched the rears up 1 notch. Made a big difference. So I felt like I had a little too much squat, and it balanced it out really well. I'm happy with that. So it's nice to give the user preset adjustments for that. If you've ever messed with a coilover on a car, these are way easier because they have pre-notched slots, and you just take the spanner wrench and go click, and that's it. Now out back, we do have some storage. This is a dry storage area. It's sealed with a weather seal on both ends, and this is 2 gallons. That's how big this is. We've got all kinds of stuff in here. And we've got the owner's manual and the spanner wrenches. There's your spanner wrench, that black thing right there. But it goes in pretty deep. So when you're out there on the trail, you can put your cell phone in here. If you plan on getting yourself that wet, or you're really gonna bog this thing, all your goodies and your car keys and stuff can stay in there and be protected. Now out back, there's your differential right in the middle. And here's the good news and the bad news. That rear diff is locked at all times. And if you've been riding ATVs for a while, a lot of ATVs are that way. This one's like that, and it makes it kind of hard to steer at low speeds because it just binds the entire time. But that's what they do. That's pretty normal. With the high lifter, you also do not get electric power steering. That is available on other sports and models, but this is just part of it. And these big tractor tires, these bogs, these paddles, and that setup, for a lot of riders, it's kind of hard to get used to, but I'll be honest, after a week, I kind of forgot it. It's just fine. It's just when you're at really low speeds trying to park the thing, that's when it's that way, but not a big deal. All right, enough blabbing from me. Let's go ride this thing. I want to show you how it does on our trails around here. All right, here's the cockpit. You've got your on-off switch right here. This is a safety kill switch, headlight, and your reverse override. If you're ever stuck in the mud and you need to go faster than its reverse speed limiter, you can hit that and then go for it in reverse, and you can get wheel speed backwards if you need to. That's what that's for. On the left, you have a cigarette lighter style charger, so if you are out in the wilderness and you need to charge something, you're running a GoPro, you can plug it in there with an adapter. Your brake reservoir is here. You have hydraulic brakes on the handle, that is front and rear, and you also have an auxiliary rear only hydraulic step right there. That's really for if you're going downhill and you don't want to have any front brake force to make you want to flip over. You can drag the rear brake with that. That's nice. On the right hand side, I've showed you the switch for the all-wheel drive. Like I said, that is rear-wheel drive, and then this activates the center diff to engage as needed. It does not lock it, but I'll tell you right now, it's not a problem. It sorts it out, especially with these tires. Also, you have your gear selector down here. Park, reverse, neutral, low, high. Pretty simple. It shows it right here. Here's your center cluster display. You've got all kinds of things here that are very helpful. I've got it set for different things, but speedo on the top, that's what your mode can change, RPM on the top. And then this is your trip odometer. We've driven it almost 87 miles. And then, let's see, your cycle through, you got your volts. When we start it up, that will increase, obviously. Fuel's on the right. And then you've got engine hours, service life, ride time. This thing's so new, we've had 8 hours of ride time on it so far. And the engine temp is currently 162. I do like that. Whenever you are riding, you can watch it and you can hear the fans kick on, and that thing drops real fast. And then I'm going to keep RPM down below, miles per hour up top. Let's crank it up. You can start it in any gear. As long as you're not rolling, it's fine. We're going to put it in high, and let's go for a ride. So it's a good cruiser. The power is very linear, and these tires are no joke, but it will still kick out if you want it to. We're going to play over here. And the beauty of this ride height in A-arms is you can confidently go through grass like this and not even think about obstacles. If there were a log or something, it's just going to make it. Got some prairie trails out here, which are no big deal for this thing, but it's got it covered no matter what. I also like that if you just want to make a new trail, you can just turn off and do it. This thing's got all the tools to do it. So I can't even see where we're going. We're just going through tall grass. There we go, a little dip. Oh, there's the next trail. Okay. Now let's talk powertrain. 86 horsepower from a single rear cam ProStar engine. It is a PVT, which is the Polaris CVT, and it just has the juice. Like that. Very smooth power plant. It's kind of noisy, so if you're trying to leave a quiet area or you're trying not to disturb animals, this is not the rig for that. It's a bit rowdy. I like it. Dual exhaust, you get some notes. If you drive this in like a side-by-side back-to-back, this is more raw for sure, and I think the buyer for this really wants that. I know I appreciate it. It can just burst on a moment's notice and rip up. It is fuel injected, and it's been pretty good on gas. I know you don't do MPG on these things. I'm used to pickup trucks, but it has hardly gone through fuel, and it starts every time, no hiccups. And the throttle response is real snappy. It doesn't give you that dull, filtered experience. When you hit that throttle, it is immediate. I like that a lot. I wish cars and trucks could figure that out again. Now you hear the fans? I can feel a lot of heat coming up right now, but they work. All right, we're gonna head to the back of the area and show you another trail. All right, we're doing 31 miles an hour. Let's let her eat. Under throttle, that rear end will still walk a little bit, which is really fun, but very controllable. Does not feel unstable at all. All right, here's a little trail that's really overgrown, and this is where a side-by-side struggles to fit, and a Sportsman or an ATV makes a lot more sense. I think it's funny on throttle that this thing sounds just like a snowmobile or a Sea-Doo style engine, that parallel to and the CVT. It just sounds like it just revs out like that. So one of the trade-offs of this thing is it being so loud. It's not the most tranquil thing in the woods. I'm interested in Polaris's EV EV side-by-side for things like this. You can crawl through the woods and not wake up all of Mother Nature. But that's not the goal here. This thing's rowdy, it's a party animal, and that's just part of it. Now, one of the things I like about it is that it can just go over things. There's some obstacles here. We're gonna run this real quick. Stand up. Does not care. This is something that the Polaris Ranger will not clear because it just high centers right there. Being a short wheelbase, this doesn't care. Here's some mud. Almost doesn't exist. These paddles just make their own way. Really cool. There you go, a little air. Seems very stable. Oh wait, here's some mud, let's go. Now these paddles are throwing some mud. That's how much they're picking up, I love it. All right, let's bring it down right here. Let's check our temps. 194, and they're pushing heat right now. All right. Okay, well there you have it. This thing is just wild. I'll be honest, we have plans for this. We're gonna get this thing deep in mud and probably our next episode, and I cannot wait to show you guys what it can do. The whole point of this episode is to introduce it to you. We're gonna have more than one piece on this, and just show you guys what it's capable of. This thing is just a monster. I will say that it is a single seat ATV. It's not the touring version. The touring version gives you a back and you can put two people on it. I will be honest, I am gonna be sad when this thing goes. It is super fun and super rowdy. if you're a truck guy and you're looking for something, maybe not consider the boat, maybe consider this. You can take your family with you and get in the woods and get muddy. It's a lot of fun. All right, that's it for today's introductory ride. I just want to say thanks to Polaris for sending this out. I am actually really bummed that this is going to go away at some point. It is super fun. It is just a rowdy machine. You look at these tires, they just don't care about any mud whatsoever. As you can see, we didn't go through a mud bog today, but we do have plans for that very, very soon. We're going to show you all that stuff and show you how the snorkels work. But even if you're doing prairie rides or trail rides, this thing can still do that. It does it all. If you're doing exclusively this kind of stuff, you might not do the high lifter. You might want a more calm tire, but this again can do it all. I do want to say one more time, don't forget to enter for your chance to win the Scotty Grill. Comment anywhere below on a June video and make sure to subscribe. We'll verify that, and you're entered to win. You can comment as many times as you want. Each time is an entry. All right, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll see you next time.